everyone, I wanted to give you all an example of the Memoria Press Kindergarten Curriculum, what you would be getting if you ordered their kit. So you first have the curriculum manual. This is a well put together, organized teacher guide. In the front it tells you what is all going to be in your kit. I have everything here to show you except for the story Bible, and I don't have all of the read alouds. Those don't come in the kit, but I do suggest you purchase them. We buy them as we go. Usually I can get them for $4 from websites like bookfinder.com. You type in the ISBN and it'll find the cheapest one you can get online. There's also A-Books, eBay, all sorts of different places that you can search for the read aloud books. And I do suggest getting those. We really enjoy the reading part of Memoria, and they're good quality classical books. So we'll get into this teacher manual. You have the introduction, and then there's all of these tips that go with each subject. And I've looked at these several times. There's good helping tips. You've got phonics, and it'll just give you a few paragraphs, and there's a lot in these paragraphs. So I do suggest reading them when you get it. And so that's for all of the subjects. And then we get on to the actual week. So they have it separated out by weeks, week 1, and then they have the subjects all for you on the side. So Monday, you'll do recitation, which is in the back of this book. I highly recommend it. It's, I think, in all of the curriculum manuals for every grade. And our 4-year-old is the one that's doing kindergarten. She's memorizing things like her address, her phone number, her city that she lives in, the state, the country, the continent. Just lots of neat things in that recitation, which I'll show you is in the back of this book. The story Bible, we don't have that, so I'm not going to be able to show you that. Phonics, it'll tell you the things that you do with that, and I'll show you some of the things that deals with. Math, there's Arithmetic 1, and then there's also a numbers book. So I like how it's different each day. You're not going to be doing the same exact book each day, and our kids really enjoy that too. There's copybook and memory, literature, and enrichment. In this section, you'll have your read aloud book, music, art, crafts, poetry, history, science. So that's where a lot of that stuff falls in. And then it just continues on all the way to week 34, which is your last week. And then in the back of the book, there's lots of helpful things I'll show you. Here's the recitation I was talking about. So for week 1, you're going to have them recite the alphabet. How many letters are in the alphabet? And then week 2, you'll add this. I have them recite week 1 and week 2. Same with 3, 1, 2, and 3. Just because it helps build up their knowledge and helps them remember it if you continue to do the weeks. Let's see if I missed any pages. There's a prayers page, letter activities, different things that you can do. This is the memory verse. They'll have you memorize verses, and so these are all of the verses that you'll be memorizing. I've noticed that their flashcards aren't King James, so I just pull out our Bible and make sure some of them are, some of them aren't. Here's the read aloud book list, so you can see which books you need. It makes it a lot easier. You can go to Goodwill and maybe find some. There's all sorts of places that you can hunt down these books. And they're all really good. They picked out really good books. These are the books that you'll read for history, culture, and science. Gail Gibbons, Cat in the Hat Library. Lots of good books. The poetry list, there's actually a poetry book that is in the Memoria set, and these poems are all in that book. So these aren't individual books that you have to buy. It's all It's all part of the set. This is the music. There's a book that I'll show you about the music. This is a song you'll watch on YouTube for week 1. And I suggest going on YouTube, pulling it up, trying to find one where they're actually playing the instruments instead of, just a picture there. The kids really enjoy watching them. Sometimes they'll last, 5 minutes, sometimes they'll last an hour. So this is a really fun part. My husband actually sits in with us on this, and we kind of just do it all as a family. Really neat songs. Let's see. Then there's just little things in the back that you could print off, worksheets and whatnot. And that's pretty much it for the curriculum manual. There is a second manual here, the Kindergarten Enrichment Guide. And in here, it goes more in depth with the read aloud books, the science, the history. So if you do get the read aloud books, here's things that you do before you read it. The overview, you talk about the author and the illustrator, and then there's questions before you read it and vocabulary to go over. Then after you read it, there's comprehension questions and different things that you can do with your kiddo. Then we have week 1, part 2, and this is the history, science, art, music, and poetry. So for history, look at a city map, find streets with which you are familiar, just basic stuff that kindergartners can handle. For science, same thing, and then you can read them a book. So this would be in the science read alouds. I can name 50 Trees today, The Cat in the Hat Learning Library. So those are good books to have, and they go along with what you're learning in science. Art, it talks about the artist and the painting, and this is where you'll find the information from there. So the art cards have just a little information on the back, but this is where you're going to get most of your information for the art cards. The music, most of that is actually in a different book, so you're not going to find much of that in here. And then poetry, this is where you're going to get out your book of poems and ask questions about the poem you just read to help them with the comprehension part. And that's basically all that's in here, is history, science, art, music, poetry, and then your read aloud book. So now we'll get on to the First Start Reading. This is your teacher book. It's for books A, B, C, and D. It's of course got all of your answers in it, and then it's got how to do the lesson. It gives you instructions on different things you can do to help your child learn. So I don't usually look at this too often. I've been doing this for 6 years, Memoria for 2 years, but homeschooling for 6. And so I've kind of learned how my kids best learn. I just kind of look at this for guidance every once in a while. So now we get into the student books. Here's book A, and they'll learn letters. One thing that I really do enjoy about Memoria is on week 3, they're already learning how to read their first word. So my daughter likes to color very colorful pictures. The first letter they learn is M, and then they draw a picture that goes with the letter M. So Rachel drew mom. So that is a picture of me. And then they learn A for lesson 2. And for lesson 3, they read the word am, which is really exciting for them to, be able to read, and it shows them that there's a purpose to what they're doing. On week 5, they're learning how to read Sam. So it just moves along pretty quickly into reading, which our kids really enjoy. Rachel's 4, and she's picked up on it really well. So there's those things at the end. She just started where I say the word rat, for instance, and she has to sound it out and be able to write it. So we're on the end of week 10, so this is kind of what we're doing. Don't mind her sloppy handwriting, we're still working on that. All right, then we have book B, which is pretty much the exact same thing. You just are learning different letters and how to make them into words. So this will be the same for the rest of these as well. So we've got book C. I'll just kind of do a quick flip through so you can see lots of drawing pictures and coloring and learning how to write the letters. Book D. They read those words. Some different projects to do. And then book E actually has its own teacher guide, although it is the same things that you'll be doing. Maybe it was just an afterthought, so they made its own little book teacher guide. So here's book E, same thing. All right. Now we're going to get into the phonics. Actually, we'll do these because they're kind of falling over, so we'll kind of get rid of them. These are little readers, and they are thin little readers. So here's what's inside. There are 4 sets, and there's 10 books in each set. So this is set 1, and they're all in different colors. Set 2 is blue. And then we've got green and a bluish green. So same thing, just a story in each one of these, and there's a lot of them, 40. So now we'll go into the phonics. There's 2 books for phonics, grade K and grade 1. It's kind of confusing, but yes, this is for kindergarten, and first grade will actually be grade 2. So these have very similar things in them. As you learn the letters, you will go through here, and let's say you're working on the letter M. You go in here, you practice writing the M, and then you do a little project with the M. And you don't start on page 1. So in your curriculum manual, it'll say, turn to page 25 on lesson 1, and you'll be doing the letter M. So, like we've done one on page 97 and we're only in week 10. It just kind of randomly goes through the book as you do the letters. Same with this one. If you're working on, again, the letter M, you'll do this page. And you just kind of go through it as your manual tells you. Here's some more readers. We actually just started this one. We've only done 1 page of it. So Rachel has read me this page. And that's all she's done so far. But they're really high quality, lots of cute little stories in them. Nice pictures, and they're very thick. And there's actually 3 of those. And they've each got their own subject. So silent E, consonant clusters, simple short vowels. So that's some more readers. This classical phonics book will actually also be in your first grade curriculum. And it's just got kind of basically big flashcards. And then it's also got some words that you can read or that your kiddo reads. And it'll tell you when to use this in your curriculum manual. So now on to the math. This book will be used in first grade as well. Not this specific book, you'll get a new one. But they use a workbook 1 and a workbook 2 in first grade. So Rachel will be doing some of this again. They start you off with the number 0. And then over here, there's no dot, so you write a 0. We didn't do the 1 yet because she hadn't learned the 1, but on the next page, she learns the 1. So now she gets to write a 1 and a 0. And that just kind of goes pretty consistently. Then you get into adding. and before and after numbers, more dots, greater than, less than. There's an example of that. You'll do coins, I think fractions at the very end, subtracting, adding 3 numbers together, story problems. So that's how their math book is going to look. There's actually a few different math things. This book you will use in first grade as well. It's the teacher manual. But like I said, you're going to have this book again in first grade. So you don't need to buy 2 of these. And this just has, you know, your answers and then kind of guides you on how to teach them. I don't look at it too much unless there's like a new section and I'm like, oh, what are they supposed to do here? This box is just full of extra worksheets. So we probably won't do all of these. It's a really thick box and it is full. Practicing writing. This one, there's the number 3. So you draw 3 houses. Rachel gets pretty frustrated with this one because, I mean, she's like, I don't know how to draw that. And I'm like, it's okay. Just, you know, make it look somewhat like it. It's not a big deal. But it's kind of tricky for her. That one is anyways. So here's different things that are in this box. Counting and then writing the number there. Just some extra worksheets if they need extra practice. Okay, we've got 2 more math books and then we'll move on. So there's the numbers book. Let's do part 1 first. Numbers book, part 1. So you write 0 and then you can practice writing these. She hadn't learned these yet, which is fine. You can still have them try to do it. Different things to go with the number 1. And it's the same way with all of the numbers. So that's how that book works. And it's basically the same with part 2, just the higher numbers. Just kind of going through this quick. The composition sketchbook is kind of practicing with your, oh no, sorry, wrong book. This one we haven't gotten into yet. This one is just these pages. That's all that there is in this whole book. So I'm guessing they'll probably write a sentence and then have to draw a picture about it. I'm not sure because we haven't gotten to it yet, but that is just my guess. This book is the one that I was thinking of. So this is your copybook. You practice writing letters. You practice writing, sorry, my phone is going off. This is verses. So there's a verse and then you draw a picture with it. Rachel didn't quite get the writing part because, like I said, we haven't learned those letters, and so I didn't have her do that. And they tell you you don't have to have them do that since they haven't learned it, but if they pick up on it, go ahead and have them do it. My 8-year-old must have helped her draw that boat, but just different coloring things that they do. In the back there's blank pages so they can practice their name or letters that they need to work on. The book of crafts is really fun. All of our kids enjoy it. Our oldest is 10 and sometimes she'll even do some of the crafts. And they go along with the books that you read. So how to make an apple pie and see the world. And there's a book or a craft that goes along with it. A tree is nice, and there's a craft that goes along with it, and there shows you the supplies and how to do the craft. This is just a really neat, fun thing to do with them, and since it's in the curriculum manual, it's more likely that we'll actually be able to get to the craft. And in the back, it's really nice. They have the templates, so you can print them off. And yeah, our kids really enjoy the craft book. Okay, so now we'll get to the Christian Liberty Nature Reader. This is really neat. It goes with the letters that you learn. So let's say you're learning the letter A. You flip and you read A is for alligator, and it just gives you some neat little facts about different animals as you learn the letters. Our kids all sit around and listen to this. It's really neat. Sometimes our older one reads it to the younger ones. And we have a coloring book, which is the same thing. If you're learning the letter A, then you color the animals that start with the A. Rachel, again, likes to be very colorful. Sometimes she doesn't really want to color, so I'll say, okay, just pick out a couple of animals and color them. And so that's what she'll do. She'll maybe color 2 pictures or something, but it is a lot of coloring, so I don't make her do it all. This book, Animals, is a very high quality book. It's just got short, little poems that go with it. So very colorful, very high quality. This I did buy from the Memoria website. I don't know if you could probably find it somewhere else cheaper, but I don't know. This one also comes with it, a child's book of poems. And again, it's just short poems that are in the curriculum guide for you to read to the kiddos. Another hardcover, nice quality book. The music. This book is really neat. It's for kindergarten through 2nd grade. And what it is, so we've got kindergarten week 1. So you're going to pull up this song on YouTube, try and get one that looks interesting, and then this talks about the song. This is questions that you can ask. This specific song is by Beethoven, so you can go into the back of the book, and these are all in alphabetical order. So it has Beethoven, and there is a biography of the composer. Just really neat. My husband sticks around with us and does this, and we also usually do the art cards during supper time. And this was in the enrichment guide, if you remember, the biography and about the painting. So really nice 5x7 art cards. I think you can get posters as well. We chose these because they're just more sturdy. And then on the back, there's just a little bit of information, but most of your information is going to be in that enrichment guide. And then we've got the flashcards. So there is a big giant stack of flashcards that this comes with. You've got your basic flashcards, which is going to be A through Z. And at the beginning there's, the introduction, how to use the cards, and then it'll say cards 1 through 26 is the alphabet. So A to Z. And then there's just different cards, and you can see kind of what is in them, and it is a very thick stack, and they're very quality cards. Now I'm going to kind of show you some of the read alouds. I don't have them all, like I said, I just kind of buy them as we need them. So, and I try and get hardcover books, they last longer. So like I can name 50 trees today, and it's just a really neat book. The kids enjoy the Cat in the Hat. So here's some of the read alouds. Katie and the Big Snow. And these are all, they picked out really good quality books. A tree is a plant. This one's really funny. They do have people read these on YouTube. You can get them at your library. We personally like to have a good sized library at home for our kids. So we try and pick up as many as we can. You can go to Goodwill and get some. And we are just about done. I think that's about everything. These books do not come with the kit, so these you do have to buy separately. I do suggest you buy the kit because it is cheaper, a lot cheaper than buying everything individually. I have grades kindergarten through 5th, so I'll try and give a example of what those all look like and post them. But thank you for watching, and I will talk to y'all later.